Helo agus fáilte go trí seascéad den program ag BBC Alba ha córacha na boranich ingantach ag cria spórs na ban in Alba. Is me sé an Valentine agus mí toite ra go bhfuil art coach na Halba fo is 6 blina diaag Pauline dul ar ascáil rúm san studio. Ar program na heiche noch, gur mi hínas Pauline súlarás ar 6 in bhóréile an an balcóis an ban, gan an a bhain an an Alba ach ar fiagan til cúteoch. Chuna sin bhfuil boranich rion frú skip a balcóise aus an championship a Jess. Agus had noiche benne Katie Winton I géise gain muna dúlan an a bhí fiochéin rís an ire sáte a rain sin spórsaiche. Pauline, welcome back to 360.
Thank you.
It's so great to have you back because so much has been happening with you. Just tell us what has been going on with your under-17s.
So obviously we were unfortunately relegated from category A, so our second qualification phase within the UEFA tournament schedule was in Albania, just less than a month ago now. But yeah, it was a fantastic opportunity for the young players. 50% of them had never played competitive international football before, and for me, I think one of the really important things that us as a staff group wanted to do was just to really give them a true reflection of what international football is about, both on and off the pitch, and a little bit of education about the holistic side to player development. But also it gave us a real opportunity because of the warmer weather and the reduced restrictions to do a lot of kind of team building and team activities with them. And yeah, the feedback was extremely positive, not just from a performance perspective, but also just in terms of how the players enjoyed the activities and the occasion.
Well, tell us about your fixtures and results, because there are some quite incredible stats from the tournament.
Yeah, so obviously 3 games. We played against North Macedonia in the first game, which we won 9-0. The host nation Albania in the second game, which we won 6-0. And then in the third game, Azerbaijan, which again we won 6-0. So yeah, very, very good performances, very professional performances. I felt we managed the games particularly well. And I think also nice, we scored 21 goals and had 10 different goal scorers, so it just shows you how much of a kind of a real team effort.
Didn't concede any.
We didn't concede any, that's correct.
You must be so delighted with that, especially throughout the past couple of years. You've been on the show and we've been talking about it, and it has been really frustrating with COVID and not knowing who the kind of next generation of players coming through would be, but actually you had some great players come into the squad and really step up, didn't you?
Yeah, we did. I mean, we had, as I said, it was a very kind of diverse range of player in terms of players that had previous international experience, players that are doing really, really well within their club environment, up playing, within SWPL 1 squads, to the other extent of players that had no international experience. And then we also had a very, very late call-up. Unfortunately, we lost our fullback Leah Dobbins due to COVID, and we brought in Laura Berry, a 2007 born player who had an incredible tournament. And I'm really excited to continue to work with Laura moving forward over the next 2 years.
Tell us about some of her performances.
So yeah, on the Saturday afternoon she received the call and was with us within a matter of kind of 90 minutes. Her dad said it was the first time he'd seen his daughter speechless. And on her debut she actually scored a goal and had 2 assists, and then followed that up in game 2, scoring 4 in 13 minutes, which is really quite remarkable at that level.
Which is amazing. It's probably something that might not have happened had things worked out differently.
Yeah, I guess it reminds us that you just never know when that opportunity will be given, and you need to make sure that you take it, and she certainly did that.
What about for some of the players? How did they enjoy just getting that international experience?
I think it always makes it more enjoyable when you're winning. But I think for them, it's been a really tough journey. They've been through a lot emotionally. It's probably helped develop their resilience, their character. And I think, when we eventually got over to Albania and we knew we were there and we were definitely going to compete, it was an opportunity for them to relax a little, really enjoy it. But, I really have to credit them in the maturity that they've shown and the real togetherness that they showed as a group. And everybody played their part in what we achieved together, and I think that made it extra special for them as a group also.
What next? What is coming up, and how will the squad look in the next couple of months?
Just now for us, it's a little bit of downtime. For myself, it's about trying to get out as much as I possibly can to scout that next age group. So it now moves to players born 2006, 2007. So that's my focus. And next week I'm off down to watch the Scottish Schools Under-15s tournament, which will be players born 2007. And then we'll look to kick on again in the kind of July, August time with our kind of talent ID camps, which will then, you know, the basis of the squad will be selected from that, and then we'll have our first friendly fixtures in September.
What about the squad just now? They must look at even the under-19s playing this week. The game was streamed online. Do they kind of see that next step up and really want to push on now?
Yeah, listen, I think, you know, after having the experience that they did, the feedback from our kind of captains or leadership group was extremely positive, and I think finished on something like, we really wanted to stay longer. So I think, you know, for all of them, probably whatever the next involvement may be, whether it's with 17s or they're progressing on to 19s, they'll have a real desire to do the best that they potentially can to make sure that they're in and around that. You know, if not in the first year of 19s, then potentially in the second year. But, you know, as I said, the feedback was extremely positive, and I think for all of them, they will absolutely want more of the same.
How good was it for you as well? Because it was so frustrating just hearing about everything that had been postponed and paused and things not quite going to plan. So for you to finally just be out there playing competitive football.
I think, you know, as a coach, the best thing is being on the grass with the players. And even although, you know, maybe the level of opponent that we were playing against was kind of less challenging than was the Wales fixtures, it was fantastic to be able to work with the players on different things, you know, so looking at build-up play, playing through the lines, their attacking fluency. You know, when you play in category A, a lot of the time you focus on defending, you focus on mid-block, trying to counter-attack. So across the 5 games, it really gave us a great opportunity to work on both sides of having those different opponents. But yeah, the 11 days that we spent together was fantastic. We started to keep them very busy because of COVID. They were in single rooms and they don't really deal with that particularly well. But yeah, we had a lot of really enjoyable moments together, both on and off the pitch. So yeah, it was very tiring 11 days, but very, very successful 11 days also.
Well, Pauline, it's really great to hear, and I'm so glad to hear that things are finally on track for your under-17s.
Thank you.
Wel, hoisich bod yn eich rhin ffrw yr ash yn y dafil ys y ceir diag, agos fan ur sin haid yr skip y later y hokal hwlig ar codym y hors doch lan ni yn oche as yn sgir yn gem y chlyche. Hol sy'n o'r y fwch yn gorach gys barach ein ymach mygyn.
The Renfrew Ladies FC are cruachog yn y dafil sy'n ceir diag, a ys had the Clwychs in Championship South League, in Tres Sri and in Balcoshen and Ban Albanach.
Renfrew Ladies have obviously been going for a bit of time. The club in general is pretty much a family club, I like to call it that. All the girls now, we're all quite close. We all look out for each other both on the park and off the park. It's a great bunch of girls to be a part of, and it's actually been a bit of an honour to lead them, to be honest.
We've been established for a few years now, and we compete in the Championship South League. We're doing all right this season, and we've been kind of just getting on with training and stuff now. We've come to the end of the league, so I think we've got 3 games left before the end of the season.
There's a lot of fun that happens at Renfrew Ladies, but it's also a very competitive team as well. The structure goes from under 8s all the way up, so there's a real pathway at the club, and it's really great to see there's so many more girls getting involved in football and that they can progress to the women's team.
Ha club ar ober cruach gus rad a chwchog so nian yn og ywnsachog a ys lesachog mar clwychyd yn Balcoshe. Le Arvins and Skipper a Gary fat na húne.
Probably about 2019 we tried to establish a girls team. We only had about 10 girls playing for the club at the time, and we kind of decided to make the change of making a girls pathway, and again we made a plan for kind of the next 5 years to try and get girls in football. So we've got 135 girls playing for us now across about 8 teams within the girls, so I oversee them, oversee the volunteers, and just kind of generally manage the girls side of the club. I coach the under 8 girls and the under 16s.
Christy and all the other coaches at the club have done an absolutely amazing job with the girls. They're the ones that give up their spare time. They're here 2 hours before training. They're taking these girls as well, and they've actually got them involved at the women's game as well, so they can see that progression.
Yeah, it is. It's really great to see. As I said, we only used to have kind of 10 girls, and now the girls are flooding in. You know, there's just about as much girls as there is boys now within the club. So it's brilliant, and means that we can offer football to girls all the way from 5 up to 16 and then senior. So the next goal is to get to the under 18s and have the full pathway from 5 to senior.
Ha chlubber balans miervlige lorag. Bhí clúch balcóise fartbeiseach a dhéos cúideach a clach go cuach an spórs gus dúine hórsí chéile.
100% is, especially at Renfrew. It's completely more than football. It's obviously the one thing that we all have in common. Obviously everybody's different, they have things outside it, but football's the one thing that connects us, and we love it, every single one of us.
Definitely the power of football, it's helped a lot of girls. Over the past 2 years it has been difficult, but the fact that we're showing up here a Tuesday, Thursday, we're working all day, like 9 to 5 jobs, we do this in our spare time, so we come here to enjoy it, and that's the main thing.
Ged nach bí Renfrew Tollage cawl amach ard a hug season show. Ha iad the dos and play a cearst.
Quite a competitive person and stuff, and I like the social side of it as well. We've got a really good team, a lot of my good friends are in the club, so coming to training and getting on with my friends, but also like going out and playing with them every week and having a wee bit of that competitive side to keep you going. The level of football has really came on the last few years, so the league we're in is really competitive and it's quite tight, so yeah, it's good to be involved in.
There's about 18 or so teams in our league, and we are competing at the top, so this year we've not achieved the goals as much as we would have hoped so, but it's one of the things. We regroup and we move on, and the games that we've got left we can hopefully go on from there.
It's brilliant because it obviously shows that women's football is taking that leap. Obviously people are talking about, like, for example, across in Spain with the women's El Clasico, a record crowd, which is absolutely amazing. Obviously hopefully it can keep growing. You can tell with that even in this league as well. Now we are starting to get quite a big crowd to come watch our games. This actual standard of the games, there's some amazing football, been some great goals by us, by other teams that we've played against. Sometimes you just need to take a step back and actually appreciate another team's goal as much as maybe you're getting beat, but some of the standards from all of the teams in the league has been absolutely exceptional.
This year I can't deny it's been a disappointment. All the girls here, we've worked so hard and we've wanted to go up this year, but it now looks as if we're not going to happen, but that just puts even more into next year, and we hopefully go for it. We train, we've got our training programmes out with as well, so we've just got to remain focused, and really our time will come when it does.
Dúireadh leisachug an tlia achar ar san clúicheadan a bhí na príomh dói ar san sarabhachas an san séasanan a haráide. Le gurisin ma a is taich láir van coirsneach, han taumri teach galé saillag a Renfrew.
We've always not been too far off the top spot, and we've been beat to promotion a couple of times by a point or two, so it's definitely within our reach. Maybe within the next season or two, that's exactly where we want to be, is pushing to get promotion.
I would love to achieve a trophy with this team. Renfrew we've won the division now too, when it was that at the time, the second division. Before I joined Renfrew I was with another team and actually played against Renfrew in the League Cup. They actually beat us. But even from that point you knew it was a really good side, it was a really good setup. So I would love to lead this team to win a trophy. If it's not this season, hopefully next season. But every single year we are looking to improve. Anything that we've not been able to achieve, we look at, we take seriously, we work on it, we come into training and we work hard, and we improve and we push each other.
The dream is always to be in the top. It would be silly if I didn't say that. It is to be in SWPL 1, but we've just got to take each game as it comes, take each year as it comes. A lot has happened over the past 2 years for everyone, so the fact that these girls are showing up, we've got a smile on our faces, we're happy to be here, that's got to be the most important thing for the club right now.
Pauline, it's so great to see yet another team just enjoying their football and growing the game here.
Yeah, it's absolutely fantastic. Back in the day when I was a football development officer, I was involved with growing the purple pathway, they call it now, which is Boroughmuir Thistle, and it's great to see something very similar to that happening at Renfrew, and they all look so invested in it, and it's nice to hear them, refer to it as a family also.
Even just in the last few years, 135 girls are playing now across 8 teams, which, when you hear that, what do you think? You must be delighted to hear that.
I mean, it's an incredible progress, and I think that we need more of that across the country, because I think right now there's a real demand, especially at the lower age groups, for opportunity and recreational play. And you know, as they were speaking about it there, they're finding it very, very easy to fill all the spaces that they've created. And I really do think that, you know, nationally that's where we need to go to continue to grow the game and achieve what the new strategy that we have sets out.
And it does show that demand is there. Girls want to play football, women want to play football. It shouldn't be something that they can't do.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that, you know, it is, as I say, one of the focal points of our new strategy moving forwards. And, you know, it's great to hear stories like this, and also stories from obviously Boroughmuir Thistle as well. And those things are important. And I think also there should be opportunity for them to share that best practice to help maybe other areas who are having those thoughts but maybe just don't know what the right ways are to go about making it happen.
You can obviously tell that they were disappointed at not getting that promotion this year, but what do you think that can do for the team now to kind of regroup?
You can understand that, because every team or club will set out, you know, aspirational goals at the beginning of each season. But what I would say to them is that, you know, just now they have a little bit of a gap between their under-16s team and their senior team. So maybe actually trying to fill that gap with an 18s will give them a real progression of talent across the next few years to come, which, you know, if they do secure promotion, might help them stay within that next league also.
So just use this time to kind of build their teams.
Build and consolidate, yeah.
Yeah, and even if we look at the kind of leagues above now, things are changing. We know that the SWPL will be going on with the SPFL. What do you think that can do for Scottish women's football?
I really like, you know, the idea of the new setup in terms of the 12 teams. I think, you know, for teams that have just been or will newly be promoted, it gives more opportunity for them to try and find their way within that new level of competition. Fewer games against, you know, the much more established teams, which potentially will be maybe a lot more enjoyable. But also from a selfish perspective, I really hope to see that more of our, you know, youth national team players can get the opportunity to play in senior football, you know, earlier in their development.
But that is so important for you, and like you say, for Scotland, because it means that these players have the opportunity to play football day in, day out, and get good game time and really kind of develop their game when it does come to the national team.
Yeah, absolutely. The step up from youth football to youth international football is a very, very drastic one, and the transition is not easy at all. And, you know, previous experience shows that the players that make that transition most smoothly are ones that have played, you know, in adult football in their earlier years. You know, the Kim Littles, Caroline Weirs, Lizzie Arnott. So yeah, that's something that we promote, but we do appreciate that, you know, the environment has to be correct for that young player across, you know, all aspects of the game, of their personal and football development.
And even just expanding the league to 12 teams, we're already seeing really competitive matches, even in that kind of middle to lower section. It's really exciting to watch some of these games. So like you say, having 12, do you just want to see more of that kind of throughout the league and as a whole?
Definitely. I think, you know, in the last season, we've seen, you know, the results against top teams and lower level teams are much, much closer. And that's great for the product, it's great for the brand, and, you know, sometimes it makes it very, very difficult to actually predict, you know, forthcoming results. So I think that's something that is really important as we move to a 12 league setup. And I think that will be something that, you know, the SPFL will want to keep their eye on also, and make sure that the decision to do that has been the right one. But I do think it will be, and I think it will be really, really exciting for the two new teams that are joining the new setup this year.
And the other thing that was mentioned in that feature was the landmark moment of women's football recently. 91,553 people attended Barcelona against Real Madrid. What do you even think when you hear that number? A sellout.
Yeah, I mean, it's mind blowing. I remember, you know, the first time that I think it was over 100,000 at Wembley during the Olympics. You know, and I really never thought that in my lifetime I would ever see or you know, be exposed to such crowds at girls and women's game. And for it now to be, you know, undertaken at a club level, you know, it just shows how much interest there is in the growth of the game, and all credit to Barcelona and the way that they've marketed the situation and how they went about it, you know, very much early in advance of the game actually happening. But yeah, I watched the game myself, and it was a very, very special moment, and to be able to actually go and repeat that again now with their Champions League fixture against Wolfsburg is yeah, it's incredible.
And that is the thing, to do it once is incredible, but like you say, to do it twice, it just, like we were just talking at the start of this chat, the demand is there. People want to watch women's football.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I have sometimes conversations with my dad, and he obviously is a little bit biased, but loves the game. And the game is slightly different. You know, obviously the physical aspect of it is different, but it's about appreciating it for what it is. And I think that, you know, in Spain, the culture is very, very different. I think, you know, Barcelona and the Spanish national team are playing incredible football at the moment, which makes it even more attractive. But I also think that they really promote it as a family sport, and I think that that's something that we can take from also.
And we do know there's nothing better than watching football in the sun, which they have.
Did I mention that earlier?
Oh no, it's great to see, hopefully one day.
Yeah, one day.
We'll see more of that here. Thank you very much, Polly. Wel, ha Katie Winton ar y fi gleisig yn y sgil yn eich mae rohi chi benye van y fai ceher blin y gia cygys. Fryn i tri siasged gws barak eisiau mi gen yn spores agos mynd y dwlyn a hair y fi mi chynnyf.
Le dochas yn ein gwna gemich yn Olympicach, hosi chi hymmer ta Katie Winton a vis a gianu rorach binye, colladdy rorach na halapa.
It's actually quite a sort of pivotal moment in my life. And I was 13 years old, and we were like between moving houses. So I was actually staying in my granny's house, and I just got onto the Scottish Cycling Talent Team programme. And the coach had come round, and he was, you know, having a chat with me. He was talking to me about training things, and he was like, you know, you could go to the Commonwealth Games or the Olympics if you want. And I was like, oh man, yes. So like from that day on, that was kind of my mission. And through various different paths, I'm now just doing it as my job. But that was quite a big moment for me, just to be like, okay, it's on, let's do it. It was an incredible opportunity because it really taught me discipline, and it taught me how to lose. It taught me how to win. And it gave me some structure out with school, which was really good, you know. And yeah, just having that sort of bigger goal to be working towards was really good for me, I feel, as a person.
Le bwy y pandemic, faint ydych a Katie wrth ych ein syblu yn y dabiles fichit. Smarsyn, son yn teisenat, fa eich di doi fyrnichach, eile y lorach I heen.
So at the end of 2020, my contract was up, and a lot of sport people and a lot of different jobs will have contracts, and then they're up and you need to find your next, for us it's the next team, and that all just was a bit of mistiming because it was at the end of 2020. There was a lot of uncertainty within the industry because they weren't sure about whether what was going to happen with COVID. Was racing going to happen? Was it not going to happen? Do we want to invest in a team or not invest in a team? It was quite late when I found out that I wasn't going to be re-signed. And so it was just a sort of perfect storm of bad timing. And so, yeah, I then worked away trying to figure out what I was going to do, and managed to get the support of various different sponsors to help me complete the year, including my grandparents, who came on as my first financial sponsor to help me through the year. And so I had a really special year working with some incredible brands and incredible people, putting that together myself, and yeah, really having that family vibe was really cool.
Ha Katie mochtja godwdi haddish it na knappen stari sin, agus hai gatchaga grog grashaun, for a roi smyrnichach and spores akal.
Yeah, I'm really proud to have got through that. Just, I could have quit. It would have been the perfect time to go, okay, this is enough, you know, this is too much. it's really out of balance. It's not fun anymore. This is just really hard, and it's not worth it. I'm going to go and try and do something else. And so to, you know, hold fast and stay so focused on what it was that I was trying to achieve and where I was trying to go, and to pull it off. Wow, I didn't even know that was going to happen. I had no prediction, but I just was like, wow, let's prove to myself, and I hope other people that, you know, find out about the story can put it into their own lives. Like, even when everything is falling apart and there's nothing to say that this is ever going to work out or any way that it's going to work out, if you just keep looking where you want to go and keep chipping away and keep working, you can get there.
Háisí an ráithe channel YouTube, go sealtain do gúnéile na rútan a bhíos í a Giano. Agus is an taichás do ráithe néile, gonna bhí a fúling leis na hún sáirse triplachin a bhaithce héin.
It came around because I wanted to make sure I was never in this situation ever again. And also to share the story to help other riders not feel alone, but also raise the awareness of, like, don't end up in this situation. Make sure you have these conversations with your team way earlier, and make, you know, as a rider, really make a point of going, no, I need to know, you know, for myself what's going on if this isn't going to happen. Because a lot of the time as riders, we feel like we can't say too much because we don't want to get dropped. So you don't want to push the boat. It's a kind of weird little balance. So yeah, I started the YouTube channel because I wanted to share the story and share the journey, and build a following and build an audience that kind of held me up if my results weren't quite there as well. Because in our sport, yes, results are important, and performing at the top level is really important, but also we're here to sell bikes. And so by having the YouTube channel and sharing the experience is another way of kind of saying bikes are great, basically. So.
Ha Katie a coite dort go mór dis an ná héan, agus ha nist a gamas I a chiad áte I gléir.
I'm excited. I've got a team. Last year I didn't have the support of a team, so it was a lot harder. So this year I've got a great opportunity to be working with a team and have all the support I need to give my absolute best, and that's exciting. We've gone all over the world. Like, we've been to Chile and Argentina and Colombia and all over Europe, America, Canada. We've been to New Zealand and Australia. Like, that alone is incredible, to race and ride your bike in so many different locations, and to be racing against the best in the world. You can't beat that, really. When I look back, it's all I've ever known, and it's all I've ever wanted to do, and here I am just doing it. So I think there's been ups and downs and highs and lows and a roller coaster, as with any life, but I've been able to live life the way I want to. And so, yeah, to stand on that top step, that's one thing I haven't ticked off yet, and that's all eyes are on that next. It would mean so much to me to do that, like, especially for 14-year-old me, you know. I'd do it for her. We did it! It's taken us 15 years, but we've done it.
Pauline, how cool was that? I was actually watching it thinking, I don't mind throwing myself down a mountain with skis, but actually throwing myself down a mountain on a bike puts me off a wee bit. But amazing to see just how much she loves the sport and how dedicated she is too.
Yeah, it's an absolutely fantastic story in terms of what her journey entailed and how she ended up, you know, taking to mountain biking. But I think what really stood out for me was just the resilience and character and focus that she's shown through this really traumatic, chaotic and probably upsetting time for her, in terms of really not knowing where, if the journey was going to continue or where it was going to end.
And that resilience is so important in sport, and actually what makes a great sports person too, to really bounce back from these things. And you can tell that she still has her goal, she still wants to get there.
Yeah, definitely. And I think I also love the fact that she wanted to share her story, because I think that, you know, especially for young aspiring athletes, sometimes, you know, they may be a little bit naive into just how many bumps in the road there may be, you know, before you actually get to that end goal, if there ever is an end goal. But yeah, just very, very open and honest. And I think that's a really, really nice thing to do. And I think it'll be, you know, something that will be part of her legacy. You know, when her job or day job does change and she looks back, she'll be very, very proud of what she's achieved.
Is that something that you talk about with your under-17s, even just about the kind of reality of sport and how it does have up and downs? And
yeah, it definitely does. And you know, I think that, you know, sport allows us to maybe have a different type of structure out with, you know, our education. It can help us through lots of different things, whether that's because it's a change in focus or through the friendships that we make or the camaraderie. But yeah, I think it's really, really important that players also realise that, you know, you can have a dream, you can have an ambition, and you should absolutely follow that dream. However, it's also really important to have something else, because the journey of an athlete is sometimes not always as long as you would want it to be.
that is something I was actually going to ask you, what you mentioned there about just having that kind of structure outside of school. Katie mentioned it when she was at school, just having something else to focus on. You probably see that with your under-17s. How important is it for them then on the other side to have their school, have their education, but then also have that structure too?
I think it's about balance, isn't it? I think everything is about balance, and it's, you know, you'll see some players who really like real structure all of the time, but sometimes that can be a negative because you also have to live your youth, you know, and spend time with your friends and with your family. So, you know, that can look very, very differently from one athlete or one young person to the next. But yeah, we absolutely try to help our young athletes give consideration to those things and try and strike the balance that's correct and healthy and happy for them.
Well, we do wish Katie all the best, and obviously we really hope that her cycling journey she gets to where she wants to be.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially after, you know, the last few years, it would be an incredible story or end to our journey if it is the end.
Absolutely. Well, Pauline, we cannot have you on the sofa without speaking about the Scotland national team, because they are playing on Tuesday against Spain. Now, the last time they faced Spain in November, they lost 8-0. We know it's going to be a hard game, but how do you see this kind of taking shape on Tuesday?
You know, I think from Pedro and the team's perspective, they'll have reflected on, you know, the performance and the things that potentially maybe didn't go to plan. But, you know, for me, I think it's really, really important that, you know, individually and collectively, we try to nullify the amount of attacking opportunities that this incredible Spain team, you know, are able to bring. Their fluency is just something that's very, very special. And, you know, at the same time, we have to be realistic that, you know, they are the number one seeds for the Euros this summer and are probably one of the highest ranked teams just now in the FIFA rankings. So I think for me, it's all about performance objectives and ensuring that, you know, the team try as best they can to execute the game plan and give a better account of themselves this time round.
Well, you do hope that Scotland, they do have that home advantage, so hopefully things might go a bit smoother. There has been frustration this week with the squad on social media. They're disappointed with the governing body regarding ticket sales and promotion of the game. Now, the record attendance for Scotland at Hampden was 18,555. That was for their World Cup send-off match against Jamaica in 2019. The last home game against Ukraine in November, 5,889 were in attendance. So for people coming to watch Scotland, if you want to get more people in, what would you say to them? Why should you come on Tuesday night to watch Scotland versus Spain?
I think, you know, the watershed moment against Jamaica was extremely exciting, and that's absolutely where we want to get back to, 100%. But this is a key part of the preparation to hopefully our women's national team, you know, securing a playoff spot for the next World Cup. So there is one reason. And two, also, it's not very often that one of the top ranked teams in the world is playing on your doorstep. So if I can, I would encourage everybody to come along to Tuesday evening's fixture.
And 2 more sections have been opened up since then, but even for younger girls coming to watch, how important is it for them to see, or not even younger girls, young boys and girls coming to watch this women's team?
Yeah, I think it's really important. I mean, you know, you can't help but smile when you watch them play, because the type of football that they play is so enjoyable to watch. The fluency, the technical ability, the physical athleticism that they show all around the pitch. So, you know, if you're a true football fan and that doesn't excite you, then I'm not quite sure what does.
Great. Well, Pauline, thank you very much for coming on this week. We really wish Scotland all the best too, and we'll look forward to seeing you again soon.
Thank you.
Wel, sin er son yn och, yn a chiach gyn bi clicad ar tobar na mahar li an Crichton Call Rooms yn studio. Jan Keen Shoch gyfelsh fel lent yn BBC Alba YouTube ar son a hula fys, coch iangol chyrw 3 siasgad aing. Agus nach diach ni chyf, gyfel gem jirifi cwtrymoch ex-skip yn a halba yn ein span ar son fain gacwp yn y crynio, bio yn ag y marsht ar BBC Alba. Hysyn sef yn ahyrys.